Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Craig Gardner from MCG Pharmaceutical Research here in Detroit, Michigan. And today I want to talk about the captive diet of your pet lizard or other reptile. Now, some of you may be using a calcium supplement. Some people get canned mealworms. Some people buy live mealworms. Some people buy darkling beetles or super worms, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. Some cockroaches of different species and sizes. But the main thing is, if you're into biotoxins like I am, a captive diet doesn't work to keep up the venom count on these animals. So today I want to teach you how to trick your a lizard or toad or whatever you're working with into eating something substantial like a baby mouse, like a pinky or a fuzzy, whatever the hell they call them now. Usually they're frozen and they're dead. Okay, lots of animals won't go after them, reptiles basically, if they're dead. I mean, it would be like us finding a Burger King Whopper on the ground. You wouldn't eat it. So when these animals in their pens come up on dead things laying on the ground or in a dish or whatever, they're not going to eat it. They're not going to eat it. They know better. Right? You don't eat dead things. They target movement, and that's how they eat. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to cheat them into eating dead things that they normally wouldn't eat. And the idea is that you mix everything together. Like, I noticed that pinkies, frozen, which are little mice pups, they're frozen, they're pink. You warm them up, and you put them in your enclosure. Your reptile won't eat it. It'll just sit there. I mean, unless they're really desperate, or you've fed them so many that they got it down pat. But if you mix it with something, like live mealyworms, live cockroaches. A good thing is crickets. Crickets like to chew on flesh. So if you put a pinky in a dish with some crickets and you leave the lid on to the last minute, the crickets will start chewing on the pinky. And then your reptile will see the crickets moving around, and it'll strike at the crickets, and its sticky tongue will grab the mouse pup at the same time. So I'm going to demonstrate how that works with some Bufo alvarius toads, and these are the toads that contain the epic 5-MeO NN-DMT molecule, or the God molecule is what they call it. And I'm going to show you how this works, because I don't want to have to give them a calcium supplement. I don't want them to have to live on crickets. Their venom count will be really low if you just give them food that you buy from the pet store down the street. Crickets is not their normal diet. I mean, these toads eat little birds, mice, spiders, venomous spiders, hornets, anything they can basically find that's moving. I mean, toads will eat just about anything, and, your bearded dragon, whatever kind of reptile you have, they base all that on movement. Everything is based on movement. And, like when you feed them with your tweezers, you move it around. If you just sit there, unless they're really used to it, they won't strike at it. You got to move it. Get that eye fixed on it. Once they turn their head, they're going to go for it. So I'm going to demonstrate with my Bufo alvarius toads how to trick them into eating something that's dead that they normally wouldn't eat. And that can not only save you some money, but you can give them different supplements. I mean, you can throw other things in there underneath the superworms or mealworms or roaches or whatever. A variety of food they normally wouldn't get. Like I take hornets and pull their wings off, mix it in with it. They'll eat the hornet, dead or alive. So, obviously you want to make it as fresh as you can. You don't want them eating something that's been dead for a day or dried up or anything. So let me go and show you how to trick them into eating things. I have one pinky left from last week. It's been in the freezer the whole time. I have two toads. They're fed. They're full. But I'm going to trick one of them into eating that pinky, because I need to get it out of my freezer. Okay? So let me demonstrate how it's done. Okay. let's go back here to my situation. And right here is a mouse pup. And normally you would use tweezers or really wash your hands, but I have to hold the camera at the same time, so what we want to do is we want to dry this mouse pup up a little bit. We don't want it to be super wet. Okay, just like that. That mouse pup all nice and dry. Okay? For those of you that are squeamish, just remember that this mouse pup is dead and has been dead for quite a while. And it was nothing we did here at the lab. So anyway, I'm going to take this mouse pup now and I'm going to stick it in a petri dish with some live mealworms, and I'm going to hide it in there so that the toads can't see it. So I'll be back shortly. So basically what we've done is we've put the mealyworms around the mouse pup. So when the toad strikes at the moving mealyworms, they will get the mouse pup stuck in their gullet at the same time. That's the idea here. So, alright, so see, we got a nice little presentation of mealyworms and mouse pup. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Alrighty, so here's the plan. You can hear crickets in there. There is Fred and Ethel, okay? Fred's the one in the back, the male. Ethel's the one right there in the front that seems to be sleeping. So I'm going to put the petri dish with the mouse pup in it right in this area right here. Let me aim the camera here. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to put the petri dish in here. Make sure it's centered, which it is. And then we're going to uncover it. Okay. Now Fred, who's not paying attention, should come and see this. And we'll just wait for him to do his thing. Because I know one of them is going to eat it. Matter of fact, you know, since they're all hanging out in the back, let me set it more toward the back. Here we go. Okay, there it is. And now we'll see what happens. Come on, get that mouse pup. There it goes. There goes the mouse pup. You got it. Very good, pig boy. You done ate everything. You didn't leave nothing in there for old Ethel. And don't look like Ethel really cares. Alright, so there you have it. That's how you trick your reptile into eating things that it normally wouldn't eat. Okay? And the reason why I do this is because, here, let me get the, there, let's get this wide angle here. The reason why I do that is because, you know, they eat different things in the wild than they do in captivity, and you have to supply that extra nutrient. If your reptile or animal is wild caught, you know, sometimes they don't do good on a captive diet. So you have to diversify, and you can do that by hiding the different foods under the foods that they're normally used to. Like that Petri dish works great because you can keep it covered until the crickets start chewing on whatever you put in there. And then when you take the lid off, if your animals are used to knowing that when you take that lid off that it's feeding time, they'll eat whatever you put in there. And that's great for diversifying their diet. If you're in the biotoxin business, you have to do that because the captive diet just doesn't produce good results as far as venom and toxicity is concerned. So, I'm Dr. Mike, MCG Pharmaceutical. Have a good one. I hope you learned something. I learned it the hard way. So, there you go.